strategist at Buy Alerts, looking at the trade for us. Morning, Tim. I feel like I have confidence you're gonna make lemonade out of lemons here.
Yeah, hopefully, going forward, I think it's almost so bad, it's almost got to be good in Boeing. And I think they're nearing maybe the end of all the negativity, you alluded to kind of the hangover in the previous spot with Jeff. But I think they're finally maybe getting over that hangover here. And, certainly they're expecting another big loss on the earnings side. But revenue's actually not that bad, still coming in decently here. Stock is pretty cheap on a price to sales basis, approaching the lowest multiple we've seen in a very long time at just over 1x price to sales. So certainly, fairly cheap on that aspect. So I'm just going out looking for kind of a relief rally, perhaps, that it's not as bad as expected here. And you alluded to the fact that, the strike, may be settled. That's probably the biggest news as well. Some of the problems that were, kind of really driving the stock lower have at least slowed down here. So I'm just going out buying next week's 167.5 calls, selling this week's 167.5 calls, paying just under $1 for that spread. Just as importantly, selling about a 70 IV this week. Hedging with under a 50. Market makers expecting about a 4% or so move based on earnings. That puts it right at that 167.5 level, give or take, and right at the overhead resistance. Really just looking for not a big event post earnings, given what's happened with the stock, but we're finally seeing glimmers of hope, both on the actual fundamental side and on the technical side. The stock did make a low and bounce off there, so I'm looking for maybe a grind higher from here post earnings.
All right, so you don't have to hit it immediately, such as the point of the calendar structure. You give this a little time, a little breathing room, a little opportunity to marinate after the report.
Yeah, absolutely. Marinating is a perfect term for it. And I think that's what the stock may do post earnings, is kind of just move out more sideways here. We finally saw that, kind of maybe a bottom put in a few days ago, and then some good news perhaps out of the, strike front here. So I think the stock probably needs time to heal, not looking for it to, take off, no pun intended, anytime soon. But a move slightly higher would be ideal for this trade structure, or even a move somewhat lower, right, may actually be profitable as well, given that term structure volatility edge embedded in the trade.
Okay. All right. So as long as we're within a pretty good range here, $3 to the downside, you don't want Boeing to fall apart, but you also don't need it to go vertical. You just need it to kind of grind it out. And also, I think with so much going for the company that is sort of exogenous, not related to the balance sheet, that the time you give yourself outside of earnings allows for some of those other things to maybe come in to play to some degree. Maybe earnings are not a big deal, but then a week from now you get an update on the strike or something, your trade is still going to be live.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a lot of, as you just alluded to, embedded potential catalysts for the upside, especially here, especially given the fact this stock has been by far one of the weakest performing stocks, certainly in the indices out there. So I think Boeing, maybe the worst is about over for it, but I don't think, the best is yet to come for a while yet. May take certainly a few quarters for the stock to really start to get back to where it was.
All right. Okay. I like the trade. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that.
You bet, anytime. Take care.
All right. Tim Biggin, option strategist at Buy Alerts. Looking at the call calendar and Boeing, giving it some time to firm up after earnings. Let's talk volatility when we come back. VIX pretty close to 20 again.